Hello, Forrester here, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Star Citizen ship, the RSI Aurora ES. Star Citizen is currently in alpha testing, and the Aurora is one of the flyable ships. The ES, or Essential model, is the cheapest, most basic of the Aurora lineup. As one of the smaller ships that I've reviewed, the Aurora doesn't really have multi-crew capability, so expect to be flying solo. I followed the usual format for this review, splitting into 5 sections, starting with a ship tour and deck flow, assessing combat performance, reviewing handling and visibility, looking at the operating and purchasing costs, before finally summarising. I've included timestamps in the video description to help to navigate to each part of the review. If you do enjoy this review, please do subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. That helps you to be notified of future videos and helps me to grow the audience. Part 1. Ship Tour and Deck Layout. Really, I don't have too much to add about Ship Tour for the Aurora. It's really simple, in keeping with the theme. Entry is via one of the 2 docking rings on the port or starboard side, which takes through into a small hallway. When I say small, I mean small. At the back is a climb-inside bed for logging out, and at the front is the cockpit with pilot chair. There's a little room inside for somebody brave to stand up, or for delivery boxes. Part 2. Combat Performance. In terms of armament, the Aurora ES model comes stock with 2 9 series longsword cannons, but with upgrade mounts for an additional 2 fixed size 1 weapons. It also has 2 size 1 missiles, which give a little extra punch where needed. So when I dusted off the Aurora for reviewing, I did not have high expectations for combat performance, but actually I've been surprised at how robust this ship can be. The nose points responsively and is able to keep guns on target and deal some pain to smaller ships, especially those less nimble than a dedicated fighter. A small investment into equipping extra cannons into the additional available slots has a big impact on firepower too. The shields are not strong, but they help a little, until you reach the point when they don't, after which the Aurora seems to melt. But all in all, considering I wasn't expecting much, I was impressed by what the Aurora could offer. I can quite feasibly see players with good piloting skills and a couple of upgrades having a way to regularly take on the claim jumper missions with an Aurora. Part 3. Handling and Visibility. Starting with the visibility, it's really nice. The windowed cockpit gives excellent all-around visibility, and the way that the heads-up display blends into the field of view is very well thought out. Having windows above and below means that during takeoff and landing, even in tighter spaces, you don't really have to worry about where you're pointed or if you are well clear of any obstacles. As for handling, I'll start by saying that the Aurora handles like a small ship. It feels like a small ship. The nose moves quickly and the acceleration and deceleration is reasonable. But it's also clearly not the most finessed handling model. You can fly smoothly, but you have to know the Aurora fairly well and predict when to slow down. That's because it carries momentum more than the responsive nose pointing would lead you to believe. I think that's a conscious design choice, owing to the aesthetics of the Aurora as a space brick, but I have to stress the Aurora still handles like a small ship. You just get a little feeling that it's not as slick as it could have been. In atmosphere, that trend continues. I had a couple of instances where I saw other players and suddenly felt very vulnerable, so I wanted to keep low and move fast, and the Aurora was okay with that. It wasn't in a happy place, but it wasn't struggling too hard either. Part 4. Operating costs. Or, as may be more appropriate for the Aurora, what operating costs? The Aurora is incredibly cheap to operate, with repairs and refuels coming in well below 100 Alpha UEC. That's hardly even worth mentioning. The 3 SCUs of cargo capacity aren't going to turn any kind of profit, but equally it limits exposure to risk of server crashes. And with some creative placement, there is room inside the Aurora for box delivery missions, which feels like the natural money-making environment for the ship. The quantum drive surprised me a little. I expected the Aurora ES to have incredibly limited range. Actually, the fuel was enough to get from Olisar to Microtech. Obviously, that's pretty slow, but if you're doing something else in the background, such as watching my YouTube channel, it's not game-breakingly slow. And given how cheap it is to refuel Quantum, I could envisage somebody starting the game with an Aurora, working their way up to larger ships, and it wouldn't be any more of a grind than many other MMOs. Part 5. The Verdict. So I'll start by saying that the Aurora, despite being one of the most basic Star Citizen ship modules, is still enjoyable to fly. Similarly to my verdict on the Avenger, the Aurora offers easygoing and non-stressful flying, and the bed means you can log out pretty much anywhere if you're just taking things easy. I'd probably still avoid combat with it, but I can see some experienced pilots making it work for them. The Aurora ES can be purchased in-game for 124,000 Alpha UC, or for around $20 outside of game. Both of these price points are very reasonable and give a good start point to build upon. Although it's worth mentioning, the current packages don't include game access, and I'm not sure that many players who already have a pledge package, and therefore a different ship, would opt to purchase an additional Aurora. The cheap purchase and operating costs do stack up well against the potential for making profits with the Aurora. So for example, if you wanted to purchase one in-game and use only that Aurora to make the purchase cost back, I think it would pay for itself within 2 to 3 hours. So where does that leave me thinking on a verdict for the Aurora? The Aurora is a nice ship, it's a cheap and easy to fly, but I don't really know why you would choose to fly it rather than something a little bigger that could do a whole lot more, such as a Cutlass or a Freelancer. Once again, thank you to all those of you who subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to continue making these videos. Please blot out the comment section with rave reviews of the Aurora, and press that like button if you enjoyed watching. For anybody looking for a group who plays the current patch of Star Citizen regularly, I've included a link to my organisation, the United Space Confederation, in the video description. And to close out, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll hear from me in the next video.